Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. So much to talk about today. There's cricket, there's badminton. Of course, tonight, India versus Bangladesh in the Under 19 T20 World Cup. And at the same time, we're seeing that India Open is in the midst of controversy once again. And we will discuss all of this today. I am Gargi Raut, and joining me for the show is Vaibhav Tripathi, Rohit Juglan, who's covering the Under 19 World Cup from Zimbabwe, and of course, Bharat Ramraj as well. Rohit, I'll start with you. India versus USA, India's curtain raiser. It was a win, of course. India will be happy about the points they earned, but at the same time, it wasn't a convincing win. Yes, India could have dominated, but at the same time, first time playing in those conditions. How are you seeing tonight's game, India versus Bangladesh?
So actually, as I said, in multiple videos yesterday also, when we, did the preview kind of thing, that what's going on at this point of time in the backdrop is very interesting. There will be eyes on the boys. There will be eyes on this particular game. And not only in game, Gargi, that there were multiple things when going on in Asia Cup. We were also watching that what's happening, around the game. Also, it's not about the cricket game in between. It's also about the behavior between players. How are they chatting after that? Like yesterday, I had an interview with Ritwik Apidi, who took the wicket of Vaibhav Suryavanshi, and he told me that after the game, I really wanted to had a chat with the Indian boys, and then he had a chat with Abhigyan Kundu, and asked him a couple of questions about his process, about the way, and he told me that there were multiple conversations around the game. The boys were really well. They were really supportive for the Indian team. Now, can we expect that particular thing, a Bangladeshi player or an Indian player want to have a chit chat with a Bangladeshi player? That we have to see. And apart from that, what would be the atmosphere around? Because as we all know that what's going on, Bangladesh senior team, they don't want to travel to India. There is certain controversy at this point of time going on between both the teams. So in all of that, is in the backdrop, and then you will have a game. Yesterday also, there was not the similar ground for practice for both the team. Bangladesh have to practice in the athletic sports club, and Indian team have to practice at the Queen Sports Club. But because of the rain at this point of time, there is a slight drizzle. That's why I'm inside. Otherwise, there will be, at this point of time, they're also showing me that throughout the day there will be particular interventions from the rain also. So yeah, because of the rain, what I was telling, that because of the rain, no team, even New Zealand, there was a practice session for New Zealand also after India's practice at the Queen Sports Club. But it all, there's not a single ball bowled as far as the practice session is also concerned because of the rain. So yeah, looking forward to this game. I'm told by the locals here that this rain is not looking very threatening at this point of time. So match will be on time, until and unless you have a half an hour of drizzle, then you can see a delay. But at this point of time, I'm not finding anything, as far as this particular drizzle is concerned. So yeah, looking forward to this game. Will be interesting. And just one more incident that I remember, before the Asia Cup also, there were multiple things said about Vaibhav Suryavanshi from the Bangladeshi side during the Asia Cup time, that we know how to get Vaibhav Suryavanshi out. So yeah, will be a one-on-one also, if you see a one-on-one competition also. And there's a history also. 2022, February 2022, we all know what happened after the final. There was, players penalized from both the sides. After a final ends, there were fight. Ravi Bishnoi was included, who was now at the senior India team. Yashasvi Jaiswal was part of that squad. So yeah, history tells you certain things. Current geopolitical tells you certain thing. There's a tension going on between both the boats. Indian team didn't travel to Bangladesh last year. They still no idea about this year's FTP also, where Bangladesh unilaterally announced a fixture. There is no confirmation from the Indian side, or BCCI related to that. And then there is a ocean away, a continent away in Zimbabwe, a landlocked country. There's this game between India versus Bangladesh under 19 World Cup. So it's interesting.
Vaibhav, how are you looking at this match? A lot of people talking about the fact that, there's more political tensions and off-field drama more than actual cricket involved at this point. But there is obviously a lot of cricketing drama involved as well. How are you looking at this game? Tell us.
I mentioned this in my preview as well, which I wrote in the morning, that backdrop is about the geopolitical tensions between the two countries, but on the field it's about the game. Again, history will tell you that India has obviously dominated the rivalry. But if you look at the big moments, Bangladesh have won the last two big moments. The last two times these two teams have locked in. Last time these two teams played against each other was at the Under 19 Asia Cup final. That was played in 2024, and Bangladesh won that game. Before that, 2020 final. That was also won by Bangladesh. So at this level, at junior level, under 19, you cannot undermine Bangladesh as a team. They have good players. Obviously, their batting is definitely on the lighter side. Bowling is their strength, and in these conditions, this is something I wrote in the preview as well, that whichever teams bats well will win this game, because it's about the conditions. Because it's a quick turnaround from the last game. Only 1 day gap was there. I don't think the conditions will change dramatically. So conditions will be tough for batting. Again, adding to that was the overcast conditions, and then the pitch has bounce, pitch has some grip as well, which we saw in the last game. Even Ayush Matre in the last press conference, he said that it is very different to what we get in India. Here we have bounce. Here the conditions are very different. It is difficult as a batter. So they have to keep those things aside, and they have to apply themselves, because all eyes will be on Ayush Matra and Vaibhav Suryavanshi, your topmost two of the topmost batters. Because again, you have to take this thing into account, that your second most informed batter after Vaibhav Suryavanshi, that is Aaron George, is still nursing an injury. We don't know whether he will play or not. Rohit Bhai will tell you better whether he was there in the practice or not. But Aaron George is definitely one vital cog of this team, who didn't play the last game. Vedant Trivedi, for me, he doesn't inspire a lot of confidence at that number, even if you look at his last 5 or 10 innings. So batting group is under pressure. Bowling group did really well in the first game. It's about the batters, and they will have the challenge against the Bangladesh Pacers. Bangladesh Pacers, beat the senior team, beat the junior team. They have developed some really good pacers, and they have one good left arm spinner as well in their rank. So I think it will be a very good challenge for the Indian team in this, as far as this group is concerned, because I think more than New Zealand, Bangladesh is one team that can challenge this team in this group, in this particular group. Only Bangladesh, I think, will challenge India more. Of course, New Zealand will play good cricket, but just going by the history, I think this India Bangladesh game will have more eyeballs.
What are the biggest threats for India under 19, Bharat, at this moment in this contest against Bangladesh? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, it is about the conditions. I think we have to think about the conditions in places like Bulawayo and Harare in the recent past. I think what has basically happened maybe is the squares are quite old. That is why you are seeing a little more of variable bounce, a little bit of spongy bounce as well. Yesterday, I was watching that game in Harare, not in Bulawayo, between England under 19 and Pakistan under 19. There was enough variable bounce. There was enough spongy bounce. Odd ball was gripping a bit as well. So as soon as England even scored 210, I thought in these conditions they have a very good chance of winning, and they went on to win that match with a decent pace attack. So that is why this match could be a banana skin for India under 19 team. For example, see, with rain around, there could be moisture and all that. But for teams like Bangladesh or Pakistan, you would want to bat first when you are up against a team
I
like
think
India.
Bharat
Get
has
about
disconnected. There
no.
we go.
No. I
He's
can
audible.
completely
He's
hear you.
audible.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
his window has gone completely blank for me. Okay, continue, Bharat.
I'm visible, I guess. Hopefully, I've not become an invisible man. Anyway, so yeah, if so from Bangladesh point of view, yes, I understand there will be moisture. There could be moisture with rain around. But from their point of view, if they go on to bat first and get about 200 runs on the board, then it could be a little bit of a tricky chase for a team like India, because a lot of hitters are around. Without if George doesn't play, because he's someone who belongs more to the ethics of batsmanship. So if he doesn't play, India might be in trouble. Yes, there could be players like Iqbal Hussain, maybe that Al Had, a few others who could pose a kind of challenge for the Indian under 19 team. But I think it is more about the conditions for me. If Bangladesh get it right in these conditions, and if the match goes ahead, then it could be a kind of a banana skin match for the Indian team.
Absolutely, Rohit. I know you spoke about it in the start, but still, a lot of people are asking about the weather. What is it looking like going forward? What's it like? And tell us how you're looking forward to this game and the rest of India's campaign. What are the practice sessions that will happen going forward? And then I know you have to leave, so then you can take your leave.
So as far as weather is concerned, yes, since the time I arrived here in Bulawayo, or I was in Harare also till the time, it was raining there also. It was raining every day. I haven't seen a single day where it wasn't rained all day long or in the night. So here also yesterday there was a lot of rain, as I said, and as Weber was also telling that I can tell about Aaron George. Seriously, I was also there for the practice session to look at that what Aaron George will specifically do, but there was not a single ball bowled. There was the Indian team came for sure. Indian team 10:30 a.m. Their practice time by ICC was mentioned around 9:30, but because it was raining, they waited here in the ground also for 2 hours. There was a 5 minute of football session also on, but then it was raining heavily, and coach didn't want to take any kind of risk, as far as his players are concerned, and because when it rains, it your spikes also it hold a little bit of that wet part of the ground, the soil into it, and that's where the curator also said that we don't want to risk the square also. So there were multiple things said, and they waited that until and unless it dried up a little bit, but it's in the evening only that it completely dried up as far as the rain and the ground conditions are concerned. But as I said, that rain, yes, skies are not looking that black at this point of time. But yeah, I can't say that it will be a rain-free day completely. There could be interruptions, but it won't be, as I mentioned, in multiple parts. Gargi, when we were doing the, the uh, preview show, on the very first day of the World Cup, under 19 World Cup, you specifically asked about the weather and how it will impact the under 19 World Cup. Also, I said on the very day that definitely it will change the condition. Definitely it will change the square, the bowling attack. Teams will prefer to bowl first because of the DLS method also, coming into the picture. But the most important thing is it won't, until and unless, yes, there was a Zimbabwe game, no ball bowled, match abundant. But apart from that, there were multiple interventions by rain in this tournament as of now. But there was no game apart from that, which you can say that it's completely washed away. So yeah, as far as weather is concerned, that's the most possible, liking as far as what I can see at this point of time outside also, and by the weather websites, and had a chat with the locals also. Apart from that, yeah, India's campaign, I think there will be a gap from here to 5, 6. I think 6 days of gap in between, and then they have to play versus New Zealand. But as I said, that this team is not resting for a single day only. They landed here on 8th, in Bulawayo. 9th, they had a practice session. 10th, they had a game. 11th, they had a practice session. 12th, they had a game, warm-up game I'm talking about. And then on 13th and 14th, they had a practice session. Even on match day -1, they practiced a lot, and it was a full intensity practice. But again, it was again halted by the rain. So apart from that, there was a game on 15th. On 16th, they came for the practice session, but it was again, rain. On 17th, again, they had a game today. And now there will be a game, if I'm not wrong, on 24th. Versus New Zealand. So, but as Weber rightly said, that the India versus Bangladesh game will be the most important game, not the India versus New Zealand game at this point of time. And then, for the later stages, we have to see that who's coming, as far as India is concerned in next stage. So, yeah, a lot of potential options. Bangladesh have opted for their senior batters, to chip in as far as this particular World Cup is concerned. As all of us know that in last two important games. But again, Weber wrote in his piece also, he talked about the important players of Bangladesh. I read that article in the morning, and it was categorically mentioned there that how they are came up with the boys who scored most number of runs for them. You talk about Zawari, or you talk about Hussein's. There are people who have scored a lot of runs for them in these 2 years, and then how they backing them up as far as their batting and their bowling is concerned. So yeah, important game for India. And as you rightly said, Gargi, in the very start, that it wasn't a convincing win. Yes, you got your 2 points, but versus USA played good against Pakistan also. They played good against India also. But India, as far as their batting is concerned, they were not very convincing as far as their batting is concerned. So yeah, a test for Indian team also as far as playing against Bangladesh is concerned.
Well, Rohit, thank you for your updates. You can go
Thank
ahead
you.
and take your leave. Thank you for joining. He'll be back with more updates, obviously, and tonight's game we'll all be looking forward to. Webov, let's talk about badminton a little bit. India Open has been in the midst of controversy throughout the tournament, and also let's not even forget the fact that this is one of the poor performances for India. I think this is the worst Indian campaign in the past 2 to 3 years, because at least you had, I think, HS Pranoy going to qualifications. You saw Satvik Chirag going till the semi-finals, or getting a silver in the past couple of years. But this time around, Lakshya Sen also getting defeated last night and being unable to qualify for the quarterfinals. This is poor performance. At the same time, the kind of criticism that you're getting last night, once again, Mia Bletchfield, putting that Instagram post out, talking about the conditions, that it's not fair, unhealthy. BWF championships coming up above in India at the same venue. What are your thoughts about all of this?
See, when your top players don't perform, you feel something is going really wrong in the. It's about performance, or it's related to team backing or whatever. Because there could be some outside reasons as well. But I was personally very disappointed with the way Lakshya performed, because there are a lot of hopes pinned on him. He's still very young, and after a long time, we see a player who has got a very long future and long potential. And then if you look at the upcoming assignments this year, and if you start your year like this, then it's on a disappointing note. And then your shoulders get down as well. I was hearing his his post match presser, and here he was very candid. He said that he was extremely disappointed. At the same time, he understands where he's going wrong. So I think going ahead in the upcoming, because it's going to be a very important year for the Indian shuttlers. So I think if you understand where you are going wrong at the start of the year, I think it gives you an opportunity to work on your weakness behind the scenes and then come back stronger in the upcoming tournament. So I personally, only for Lakshya, because yesterday he got he got the exit. So I am personally looking forward to how he responds well, how he comes back well in the next tournament that he plays.
Um, Bharat, there's a question here. Weber Taragi is saying this was the second time when Mia Bletchfield uh, complained about hygiene issues in the court. Why are we so ignorant? For God's sake, World World Championships is in India this year. Your thoughts on this, and obviously, Laksha's inconsistency also continues.
I think you covered one of these Indian Opens, if I'm not mistaken. So you might be in a better place. Anyway, if you want to ask me, I will tell yes. See, if there are problems, if it is unhygienic, say I can only sit here and tell, because I didn't really cover any of these tournaments. But if it is unhygienic, if the conditions are not good, and all these things that you have heard about bird droppings and all that, if it is there, then obviously these things have to be rectified. Hopefully it will be done the coming days, because as you just noted, I see also just noted, world championships are coming, and you wouldn't want any foreigner to come here and then complain, because in the past as well it's happened. A lot of India's, what can I say, reputation has been damaged in the past. If you want to go further back to Commonwealth Games in 2010, so hopefully if such things are happening, then it will be rectified. But about Lakshya Sen, obviously I can tell more about him. See, he's a little bit of an inconsistent player. A sub I followed since maybe the Australian Open somewhere in 2018-19. Is sometimes looks incredible on occasions, when it is maybe 12-10 or on those lines. Suddenly he loses the plot, and he will go on to lose that particular game. And that's what exactly happened in the Olympics as well. Though he might have had a niggle or two in the Olympics in the bronze medal match. So yeah, Lakshya Sen yesterday, maybe it was because of the heavy wind that might have gone against him. Though one can't give such excuses, because if you're a top professional, if you have played at that level for 8-9 years, then you're expected to get adjusted to the wind, heavy wind, or if there is less wind or on those lines. But I think that might have played a part in Lakshya Sen losing yesterday.
And Vaibhav, to answer your question, um, see, it's a complicated issue here, because you also have to, and I have been covering this tournament for the past 2 years, and I would have gone this time around as well, but I was in Kolkata. I just came back to Delhi, and I will go and speak to Sanjay Mishra here. Am I audible, Bharat?
You are.
Yes, I am, right? Okay, okay. All right. I thought I was having an issue with my internet. But what I'm trying to say here is one of the main factors for this uncleanliness or the kind of conditions that you have in the KD Jadhav Indoor Hall, which Mia is complaining about. Mia's not complaining more about it. Mia's not complaining about the IGI stadium. She's complaining about the training facility, which is at the KD Jadhav Indoor Hall, which is a very small, very small indoor space for badminton, and it is not well maintained. We will all take that. BAI is very well aware of that. The only problem here is when it comes to these venues, BAI is only given control of these venues at a maximum of a week before the tournament actually starts. So they don't have enough time to make those renovations. They don't have enough time to sort of recce the space and then go ahead and make the changes, which is one of the biggest reasons. If you go back and look at the tournaments held in Guwahati, there's no such problem because BAI gets the control of these venues far earlier compared to Delhi. So this is one of the biggest problems when we talk about bird droppings and all of that. Obviously that is an issue. Now we can't just stand here and say that, okay, why don't you, let's just ignore that there's bird droppings in the middle of the match happening. That's a problem. Pollution is definitely a problem. Maybe going forward a change in venue can be thought about, maybe somewhere in the north or Hyderabad. There are so many venues in India that can be considered at this point. But when it comes to the BWF World Championships, we know I've spoken to Sanjay Mishra, and the IGI stadium is well renovated, and by that time, any all of the complaints that are coming in now will be rectified by the time the World Championship starts. So that's it. Final question to you, Vaibhav. Let's talk about WPL before we sign off. RCB at the top of the table. Incredible win last night, winning 32 runs. A very convincing win from RCB. Seems like they're going for another cup there.
Yeah, definitely. Apart from like their captain's form, I think a lot of things are going really well, and a couple of additions has really helped them. And but I still think that at the top of the order, there is a possible change that they could opt for. That is the addition of Georgia Wall. I think they can add Georgia Wall at the top. I think that will make their side, make a sort of unbeatable side, because apart from that, I think they have got everything sorted. Like all the bases, the only team that can beat them for the title is obviously Mumbai Indians, and that is one another side. And Delhi Capitals, if you see Delhi Capitals, their batting is something else. Like if you see their top five, they have good power at the top: Shefali, Lizeli, and then Jemima in the middle. Then you have measuring cap as well. So I think RCB have few teams for to fight for the title. I think still there are few loopholes in the team, and that could be sorted only when you get the balance of your team right, and that could be done if you add Georgia Wall at the top. I think that will give even Smriti Mandana to take her own good time and then get back among runs, because I think that is being one of the concerns. Harmanpreet Kaur is performing really well. It's a time for it's the year of the World Cup as well, the T20 World Cup. So you want your senior players to be best possible form. Harmanpreet is one. I think her deputies also need some runs in this WPL. I think that is only one thing that RCB lacks at that time. Apart from that, I think this team is really looking really good. Even without Ellis Perry, a lot of fans have been complaining about Ellis Perry not being there. But I think Nadine D. Clark and all the other overseas players have done really well in her absence.
All right, it'll be interesting to see tonight's game as well. Of course, WPL is off to a great start. Thank you so much, Vaibhav and Bharat, for joining.
Can I just add something before we go?
Yeah.
Obviously, Rohit Juglan is in Zimbabwe, but currently he's not here. Otherwise, I would have suggested him as well. I think this is also the best time to visit Victoria Falls if he's around, because in January you will see the Victoria Falls gushing forth because of all the rain around in the landlocked Zimbabwe.
Absolutely. We'll get that message across. But thank you so much, Bharat, Weber, and Rohit for joining. And to everyone who's watching, Boria will be back at 5. No, we'll be back at 5. We'll do a panel show today at 5 at 5. So don't forget to join us then. Thank